Hi, it's Jason again. I'm back with another video. This time it's not gonna involve my cat, but actually I was going to make a video about a hobby that I had whenever I was young. I started when I was about 9 years old, and I actually wrote to baseball players, or mainly baseball players anyway, and I would send them a card, a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I always got the team addresses. The address is from a Beckett baseball card book, because the internet really wasn't as familiar back then, and letters are obviously more used back then too. Some of these I bought at card shops, like there was Steve Traxel, was that one right there. Some of them were bought at card shops, but I would say 90% of these were actually written and signed. That one I actually bought. Al Kaline I believe I bought. But some of the better ones, like there's Mark Grace, Rick Wilkins, who used to be a Cubs player. I was a big Cubs fan, so whenever I first started writing, I would write to a lot of Cubs. I have, baseball players, a lot of Kansas City Royals. I even wrote to Lynn Dawson. Obviously a lot of Cubs, a lot of repeat Cubs, because once I got their autograph once, I wanted to get it again. Sometimes I would send more than one card, and those were actually free and some cookies if you had enough proof of purchase and cookies. Paul Molitor, a Hall of Famer. Frank Thomas, another good one. There are a lot of good ones. Most of them are just average players, like Phil Hyatt, who was supposed to be a really good player for the Kansas City Royals. He didn't turn out to be anything. A lot of local guys, a lot of Kansas City Royals players in here. Tom Gordon, Cliff Floyd. I started writing to prospects a lot also. And then I got into the Braves a little bit. Denny Nagel, some more Royals. Johnny Damon signed. Tim Raines, Don Sutton, Hall of Famer again. David Justice. A lot of Braves players here. Even Reggie Jackson, a Hall of Famer, autographed a card for me. Tom Glavine, future Hall of Famer, I'm sure. I've got Greg Maddux as well, who I'm sure we'll see in here. A lot of Braves guys too. A lot of Royals guys. Garrett Anderson. More Royals. Another Johnny Damon. Tom Goodwin. Carl Everett. J.T. Snow. Kenny Lofton. Lee Smith. John Franco. Derek Jeter. I've got several actually Derek Jeter autographs. I've got a lot of Chipper Jones as well. There's Jeff Conine. Mark Grudzielanek. More Derek Jeter, Greg Maddux, as I mentioned earlier. There's two of him. Another Paul Molitor. I can't even think of how many stamps I went through. There's Mike Sweeney, good player for the Royals for many years. Andre Dawson, another Hall of Famer, and or future Hall of Famer. I forget if he was inducted this year or not. John Olerud, a lot of the same guys. Another Derek Jeter, more Tom Goodwin, and more Royals. Tony Gwynn, Hall of Famer, definitely. Paul Molitor. Mariano Rivera. And I know I've got an Andy Pettitte in here somewhere as well. Trevor Hoffman, who I'm sure will likely be in the Hall of Fame, unless he's used steroids, but I don't think he did. Vladimir Guerrero, a couple of those. Jermaine Dye. Another Mark Grace. I used to get a lot of these back. I would get a lot of them back. I would get probably maybe 60 to 70%, I would say, back. John Smoltz, that I would write. Every once in a while I would have somebody, never return one, or I wouldn't get one back. And I really never kept track, so I never knew for sure. I never really had statistics or anything like that. I just kind of had a general idea, but I mailed so many of them. I mean, there were days where I would mail 20 or more, and I did get back 5 in one day a few times. That was the most I ever got back in one day. But more Tom Glavine, and I guess you get the point. I also have autographed pictures. I'll just go through one of these, but basically it's the same thing. Sometimes they will not sign your card, but they will send you an autographed picture instead. And a lot of these, like Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley, these are ones I've gotten more recently. Ryan Howard, Bob Hamlin, who used to play for the Royals. Yeah, I think you get the point. Greg Jeffries, Carlos Delgado, a lot of Royals players. Paul Molitor again. Got a lot of Paul Molitor. I didn't realize I had that many of him. I even started writing to celebrities like Tim Allen. And I forgot who that is. Christina Ricci, I believe. Johnny Damon. You know, just things of that nature. Actually, in 2000, I began keeping track of the people I had written to in early 2000, and by then it was already getting noticeable that I wasn't getting as many back, and I actually began writing again in 2010, and I found that oftentimes they would send the card back unsigned. Every once in a while they would send a picture, but usually not, and usually I would get a letter like this stating, you know, if you want your card signed, like with this one was a Carlos Gonzalez for the Colorado Rockies. If you want your card signed, that you need to send $10 with the card or whatever amount of money, and it supposedly go to some kind of charity, which is, I mean, I guess that's good, and that's another way that they can get money to charities, and that's money that the players don't have to pay and that sort of thing. And I'm sure the player gets some of that maybe, but it is kind of sad also in one way that you can't write to the player. I almost felt like when I was writing some of these letters in 2010 that like they would be viewed as odd or kind of annoying, because writing letters in the 90s, whenever I began doing this, was much more a part of everyday life than it is now. And so a lot of times if somebody wants to try to get an autograph, they either go to the ballpark or they'll just do another way than just sending in a card and a letter and all that. Just mail is kind of less popular, I guess, since email and everything. But I'm sure that's just one of the reasons why. And so eventually I noticed that I just wasn't getting as many back, and so I've stopped for now. I started again in 2010, but then I stopped again. I don't know if I'll do it for 2011 or not, but I would like to add to my collection, but it kind of looks like it's going to be tougher than it was in the past. But I just want to share that. Nothing extraordinary. It's just a prized possession of mine because it signified so much of my childhood, and it's something that I get out and look at every once in a while. It's nice to see. Reminds me of good times. But I guess I'm going to close the video now.